All right, we have the photographer research Google Doc here, and this is where you're going to put the name of your photographer. You can find this in Google Classroom under the assignment. And here I'm going to type in my photographer's name, which is Dorothea Lang. Okay. And from here, we're just going to answer the questions. So it says background and biography. What is about photographer's full name and birth and death dates? We already did it, but Dorothea Lang. And then I'll do a comma here. We'll start looking up birth and death dates. So I'm going to type in Dorothea Lang, and I'm just going to kind of do this as an example so you can get a sense of, let's type in photographer there, of where you can find some resources and then some of the sources that you would be citing. Wikipedia is a great place to start because it usually has lots of good sources at the bottom. Like if you just kind of want a broad overview, there's a lot of examples here. Down here, where you see all of the references, this is where it really becomes valuable because these references you can actually use in your own sources if you're actually looking at it. Like if I click here, let's see if I can use this as an example. Oh, never mind, that one's down. Let's try this one. There we go. So here's a great source. You know, this is probably going to be reliable. It's the Museum of Modern Art. These are some of her photos. Okay. And here it even gives her birthday and death date here. So I'm going to use this as one of my sources. And what I'm going to do is I'll type in 1895, whoops, to 1965. This is where are they from? Did their location or culture influence their work? So here it says American, so I know that, you know, she was probably born in America or lived in America. So we'll just say America or American. And then it does give her location of her birth location and then the death location. So she was born on the East Coast and died on the West Coast. So New Jersey and San Francisco, if you want to be really precise. We'll say New Jersey, born, and we'll say California, death. Okay. Now, because I got this information from this website here, I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to do Control C on the keyboard, and I'll go back here. I'm going to scroll down to my sources section, and I'll just do Control V. I don't need anything else here. I'm not worried about like titles or dates or anything. I know it's a reliable source for the most part. So let's go on to education and training. Where they self-taught? Let's scroll down here. So see if there's any information about her and her education. Okay. And I'm not seeing much. I know it shows some of her work. So here's where we could type in Dorothea Lang education. Let's see what it says here, if we can find some information. Let's look on Britannica. Let's see. Here we go. Education early career. She studied photography at Columbia University in New York City. Okay. In 1918, she decided to travel around the world, earning money as she went by selling her photographs. Okay. So Columbia University, right there, is college. So college level, Columbia University. Oops. And so not self-taught in this case. And you'll literally just continue onwards as you go on with these questions. If you want to highlight your answers with like a certain color, sometimes that's kind of handy when you actually go in to make your poster. You're going to be including all this information in there. All right, so we're going to pretend that I finished this whole thing and I have all of my sources. You should probably have at least, I'd say, 3 sources here. More is never a bad thing. Because I got the information from here, I'm also going to remember to copy that link. Don't forget to copy your links, okay? All right, and now I'm going to show you how to get started on the actual poster side of things. So we're going to be doing this in Canva, and I'm going to go ahead and just type in Canva here. And Canva is super useful for something like this where we want to put something together, but we might need a little help with aesthetics, or maybe, you know, just clip art and that kind of stuff. Let's see if it'll actually go. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now you can start with a template. You could also just start with like a blank design too. So I'm actually going to start with a blank design. I think we'll just start with, let's do poster here. This will work. 18 by 24 is fine. But if you did like a template, you could start with like, the backgrounds and stuff and then kind of add your own things, okay? All right, so essentially everything that's on this research should be on your poster, all right? So I'm going to start by just changing the background color here. If you've never done this before, you can do some custom colors here. You just click on the background, you choose your color. I think I'm going to do kind of like a muted green color. I like that. Up here, you can give it a name. So I'm just going to call this Dorothea Lange poster. And we know that the name is a big part of this. So I'm going to go into my text box here and I'm going to say add text box. Again, I'm just kind of showing you some basics to get started. If you've never used Canva before, which I know many of you have, but if you haven't, I'm going to zoom in here. There we go. I can highlight this and then choose one of my typefaces. Now, something to keep in mind, depending on your access level, if there's like a little royalty symbol there, that means that generally you have to pay for it or have like the higher paid plan. So don't use those. If anything has those things, just avoid using it. There's plenty of other free options here. It's super cute still. That's kind of a fun typeface. I kind of like that handwritten style. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger though. And you can also just pull to make it bigger. Okay. I'm going to put this over here. Now, because it's about her, I probably want a photo of her in there too. So I'm going to go back over here and see if I can find this photo of her looks good. I can right click on this and say save image as. Looks good. It's WebP. I'm not sure if Canva will work with that, but we'll see. I downloaded it. Let's give it a shot. We're going to go to uploads, upload files. I'll double click on the picture of her. It looks like it's working. Beautiful. And I've already cited that source. So here I can put her picture in there. Cool. I might even put a frame around that later or something. That'd be in here. Let's see, I'll do it now, maybe. Frame. Let's do a circular frame. Frames are kind of fun. Let's see if it'll go in. Beautiful. There we go. So you just click and hover and bring it over. Okay, so this is about Dorothea Lange. And then from here, I can go in and add my next text box, whatever that is. Now, when you have really small text, it's a good idea to use a more readable typeface. So like one of these is probably a better one than that really fancy typeface. I just chose that because it's my header or my title. Here, I'm going to have her birth and death information here. So I'll go back to my notes, and here's where it gets to be kind of nice. You can just copy and paste. So if I highlight that and do Control C on the keyboard or Edit Copy, you can then paste it over here. So Control V. All right, there's her born and or her birth and death dates. Okay. Do the same thing with this one. I might even just use the same text box, but I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Okay. See, it's all about just kind of arranging things. You want it to be arranged in a way that it's exciting to look at and engaging. Like imagine that you're trying to teach a younger student about this photographer. Like, how are you going to make it interesting to them? It's easier said than done. Okay. Okay. Now, again, you're just copying these things. In this one here, like Columbia University, I'm going to look up Columbia University. I want to see if I can find their logo and use that because I think that will make my poster a little bit more exciting, a little more engaging. Yeah, here's like the campus. You know what? I actually kind of like the idea of the campus too, but let's see here. Otherwise, I could just use their logo. Here's their logo too. Maybe I'll do both. I'm going to save this one, Columbia, and then their campus. Here we go. We'll use that too. I'm going to save that image. So I'm just right clicking and doing save image. All right, so let's go in and we'll do upload files. And we'll just do a little picture of Columbia University. Why not? You don't have to do that, but sometimes it's nicer to have that instead of a ton of text. It just kind of breaks it up. And I'll upload the logo because we want our poster to be really exciting to look at. I think I'll just leave that. Okay, so now I'm going to do my text box, add a text box, And we're going to change that to my more readable text. We can just say, she learned photography at Columbia University. Again, I'll kind of shrink that down a little bit. You can adjust these edges here to kind of resize or reposition things. All right. Now, as you go along, you're going to come across the part where it says identify at least 2 to 3 of their most famous or important photographs. It says include dates and titles if applicable. You can just copy and paste or download. Downloading's nice because then you already have them. So I'm going to go into that resource again and see if any of her work is here. Yep, there's that one. I know that one's for sure very famous. So I'll right click on that and save image as. That's Migrant Mother. So we're going to go back to uploads and upload that image. Again, images are a big part of this. It's a photographer poster, so you want it to have lots of images. And you can always like put things down and then rearrange later if you want to. Okay. Do something like that is probably good. And then for type, this is called Migrant Mother. And I think there's a date on that. Maybe, maybe not. That's okay. If you can't find a specific date or anything, you just include as much of the information as you can. We'll just put that there, Migrant Mother. Now we're going to need to find two others of her works here. Here's some other ones. I know she's got other ones on other websites too. Let's see. I'll go back here. Maybe go to a different website. Just remember to grab those sources. Ooh, these are some good ones. Okay, let's grab, this is kind of a cool picture. A useful woman in small ways. I think that's the name of it. Let's see if it'll let me save it. Not all websites will. It does. Okay. So we're going to upload, ignore the bell there. Okay. A useful woman in small ways. Now you can have more than 3 photos. So feel free to do more than that. I'm going to see if I can find another one of hers. She did a lot of Great Depression photos. So I want to make sure I get another one of those where like maybe it's a whole family or something. Yeah, something like that. Maybe. Let's see. There's 17 images. Not quite what I was looking for. Oh, this is a good one. Drought refugees from Abilene, Texas. Cool. Okay, so there's no photo or no title for this one, but I'm still going to save it. And we'll upload. All right. Sometimes it helps to include an explanation. So instead of a title here, I'm going to include like just a brief explanation like what's here. So drought refugees from Abilene, Texas. They're following the crops of California as migrant workers. So we could just say drought refugees or drought refugees from Texas looking to be migrant workers or something like that. Just to kind of synthesize all of that. So drought refugees from Texas headed to California to be migrant workers. Okay, now before I forget, I want to make sure I include these sources too. Okay. So you're just going to keep adding to it, right? All the information from there. And I want to show you, you're going to want to leave a little bit of space at the bottom of your poster for your sources. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like. Generally, sources are going to be smaller than everything else. They're usually at the bottom. And the nice thing is, again, you can just copy and paste. So I'll copy all my sources here. I'll do Control C on the keyboard. And then I'll just go in here and do Control V. Whoops, if it'll let me. It just did a weird thing. Ah, oh my gosh. Hang on, go back, go back. Okay. There we go. Control V. Still not letting me do it. Let's see if it'll let me. Bear with me here. We'll zoom in a little bit. I think I gotta space this out a little bit. It thinks that I want to just link things and I don't. Let me see if I can just delete that first. There we go. Okay, I had to delete it first. All right, and I'm gonna space out my links here. Cool. This looks good. Again, it's kind of stretched out so it's across the bottom. Okay. This one will go on the bottom. Now, what I like to do is I'll also change the color or just lighten it up a little bit. So I usually go to like gray or something, just so it's a little bit lighter. That's a little too light. A little hard to read. You don't want it to be impossible to read. Just a slightly different color. I don't want it black. Good. That looks good. Awesome. And that's just to show, like, anyone who's looking at this could be like, oh, okay, they got their information from the Museum of Modern Art. Maybe they got it from Britannica, right? So they can look at your sources and make sure it's legitimate information. Okay. Now, the other cool thing with Canva is it does autosave. So it's going to autosave on your account. When you are done, you're going to go to Share. We're going to go to Download. It should let you do this unless you use the Royal options here. And we're going to change PNG to PDF print. And we'll click Download. And some of these I will be printing. I'd love to hang some up in our display case and out in the hallway. So I won't print all of them, but I'll print the ones that I think, are the most eye-catching or aesthetically pleasing. Please make sure you have all of the information you need from your Google Doc on your poster. Make your poster exciting to look at, exciting to read through, and then you will be turning in both your Google Doc and your Canva poster together, and that's like your total submission for this assignment.